Hello, everybody, and welcome back to more Cardinals. We just want one. We're on the quest for one. On the quest for a playoff appearance, really. Gotta start there. Gotta start small. We're coming off probably one of the biggest victories we might ever see in this freaking series, man. Kyle Hejl, our rookie wide receiver, had some absolute heroics in Week 2's game against the San Francisco 49ers, winning the game with a walk-off kickoff return. Absolutely insane stuff. And so now we pivot into Week 3 here against the Seattle Seahawks, 2 straight division games. Our schedule is very similar to how it was last year, except the Seahawks, I think we played in Week 2 after playing the Redskins in Week 1. So we start the year 2 off with the Seahawks in Arizona for week number 3. So the Seahawks, if you remember from the offseason video or Week 16, whatever, because I went over the standings a few times, the Seahawks went 9-7 and finished, I think, 8th or 9th in the NFC. Finished above us in the NFC West, which is, I think, the important thing to put an asterisk by. But yeah, they did beat us. They finished about a game or so better than we did, but they were the only team in our division that we swept. So both the Rams and the San Francisco 49ers got their revenge on us, but the Seahawks we beat in both games last year. So we have yet to lose to the Seahawks in this series. I don't want to put anything out into the universe, but, things are looking up for us. I've had the Seahawks figured out here. We should have lost that first game against them, but they found a way to lose it thanks to their kicking woes. But maybe they upgraded at that position in free agency. I actually think they did. I can't remember who it is. It might be like David Akers. I can't remember who it is, but I'm pretty sure they did sign a kicker. We'll have to see later on. So we're going to move forward here late into the first quarter. It is 1st and 10. Seattle with the ball now. And Trent Dilfer is still their starting QB, and he's going to float the one out to the side, and that is incomplete. So, 2nd and 10 now. It's coming up for the Seahawks. Dilfer's going to pitch it off to Sean Alexander, who's trying to get to the outside edge, but I believe that's Vandenbosch who trips up Sean Alexander, or excuse me, it's Wakefield who trips up Sean Alexander by the ankle. So a big 3rd down now for Seattle. So far, there's nothing going on here in this first quarter. The Seahawks are trying to get something going as Dilfer's going to draw back again. And we have LeVar Fisher and a few other defenders in that vicinity to break that one up. So, Seattle's going to send out their kicker, who I think, is David Akers, and he's going to poot this one through a very long field goal. He has just enough. And yes, there you see, David Akers is now the new kicker for the Seattle Seahawks because they are not going to lose on games like that again. So, the 3 points that David Akers sends through that very long field goal is the only points that would be scored in the first quarter. So, we're going to move ahead now in the second quarter. So fresh out of the second quarter, we have the ball going the other way, and Thomas Jones gets a nice pickup for this Cardinal offense, picks up another 1st down. So things were not really moving all that fast in the first quarter, so hopefully this Cardinal offense can get moving here. We kind of added some points, a lot of points last week, and things kind of stalled out in the second half. So we really have to figure out how to get consistent here as Herman Grandmont is making yet again another start as Jake Plummer continues to nurse that ankle injury that he sustained in Week 1. And he's making up for some of his woes in the first couple weeks here with a beautiful pass to David Boston to score our first touchdown of the day. And so Grandmont has some weird hiccups there in Week 1 against Kansas City when he had to come in. I think we kind of really lost the game because of his performance. In Week 2, though, he really kind of seemed to step into it, get a little bit more comfortable, and now let's see here in Week 3 what he can do now as the Seahawks are heading the other way, trying to add some more points here before the first half is over. Dilfer's going to hand it off to Sean Alexander, who tries to wiggle up the middle. There's a little bit of room, but he does get caught up after gaining just about a handful or so. 2nd and 5 now for the Seahawks. They're going to go to Sean Alexander yet again, who somehow shakes out of that block. We had him dead to rights, but he keeps shimmying the blocks, and the C's part, and he is completely open to get to the end zone. I don't know what happened there. We had him completely covered, and everyone just shed it off and just said, let him go. Let him go in freely. It's all him. So Sean Alexander gets a huge run. We absolutely silenced him last season, but he's already been a thorn in our side so far this game. So with a minute left to go, we're going to try and answer back Seattle, who has a 3-point lead on us. Grandmont's going to float that one up to Kyle Hejl, the rookie wide receiver, and he's going to haul that in somehow in double coverage. That's some David Boston type heroics, but we got Hejl already making some headlines, some highlight reels here with no gloves. Pay attention to the no gloves, man. He just likes to get his little skin all over it, his little digits all over it. So 45 seconds, we're in good position here to add some points potentially, as Gramont's going to drop back and float this one out to Boston, who's going to haul that one in, but his feet are just outside the chalk, so we're going to have to try this one again here. 2nd and 15, Gramont's going to drop back, look over, float this one out to Freddie Jones, a tight end, who hauls it in, but is brought down just shy of the end zone at about the 1 or 2 yard line. So I always want to get Freddie Jones a touchdown on those kind of plays, float him out to the corner, but it never seems to happen. So 1st and goal, we're going to give it to McAvick, the fullback, who's going to fall forward off an ankle tackle and get us another 6 points. So got 2 touchdowns today, and one of them's going to our fullback. You love to see it. So Bill Gramatic is going to knock home this extra point, and we're going to take a 4-point lead, which is 16 seconds left to go in the first half. So I like how we're answering back here to Seattle so far. It was kind of a similar situation in San Francisco. It was an even back and forth. San Francisco's offense really did struggle to maintain with the output of our offense, as we just kind of poured on the points at a certain point in the game here, really just relying on Kyle Hejl's special teams plays to keep us ahead in that game, or else we very well would have lost it. So really got to rely here, or not really rely, but we got to figure out a good offensive game plan here to stay in these games and keep adding points consistently. As Seattle comes out in the second half now, or a little bit further into the third quarter, still working around midfield here. Trent Dilfer's going to drop back, float this one out, and finds his man on the left sideline. We had a line, I think that was our rookie linebacker. I had him in coverage. That's never going to go well. Even if it's white-on-white crime here, white receiver, white linebacker, it's not going to work out. So Seattle's going to go on the ground, go with the ground game to Sean Alexander, who's going to shimmy upfield and get brought down. So it's 2nd and 6 now. Seattle's going to send a man in motion, coming out in the Y here. Trent Dilfer's going to drop back here and fake the handoff to the fullback. A really weird fake handoff, and the pressure gets to him. He gets rid of it, but it goes right directly into the dirt. They're going to rule that a fumble, but Seattle does retain possession. So the ball's going to stay with them on a 3rd down now. What can Dilfer do to add some points? He's going to float it out, and that was going to get picked off by Kwame Lassiter. I thought I had some room, so I tried to bring it out of the end zone, but some Seahawk defenders came out of nowhere and brought down Kwame Lassiter to about the 1 yard line. So we do get the interception, though, even though we have 99 yards now to go to capitalize off of it. Trent Dilfer just lays up that duck in double coverage, and we capitalize on that. So we're going to advance a little bit forward into this drive here with a minute left to go in the third quarter. It's a big 3rd down. Can Gramont add something here? And the pressure just gets to him, man. It was a bunch of Olay blocks up front that crushed him. So that'll bring an end to the third quarter as no points are added. All too common in this series, man. So, but moving ahead now in the fourth quarter, Seattle's knocking on our door here at 1st and 10. They're well in the red zone here. Trent Dilfer's going to drop back and float it to Sean Alexander, who cuts inside a little bit and gets brought down by about the 10-yard line. So Seattle slowly but surely inching forward here on a 2nd and 4. Dilfer's going to drop back again. He's got Alexander in front of him blocking. He's going to float it out right out of the back of the end zone. I think he had a guy there open, but that pass was just way off the mark. So Dilfer not the most accurate guy out here. So 3rd and 4. What can Seattle do here? They're within reach of taking the lead. Can they do it? Dilfer's going to float it back, and he finds Frazier yet again, who hauls it in. And Seattle retakes the lead here, retakes a 3-point lead with David Akers' extra point. So we were holding on to a nice lead, and this is what I was talking about earlier, man. We got to add some points. So we're going to move forward here, just coming out of the 2-minute warning, and we are knocking on Seattle's door. What can we do? We're going to hand it to Thomas Jones, who's got some room on the outside. Can't escape the open field tackle and gets brought down. But we are cooking here. We are working with something. 2nd and 5. What can we do? Gramont's going to think about it. Sit and think about it, and we're going to hand it off to Thomas Jones again. Who, again, has a little bit of room here, but there's some defenders waiting for him around the 1st down marker. So we're trying to kill a lot of time here and make sure Seattle doesn't have enough time to capitalize. So even if we just have to take the 3 and tie the game, that'll be better than potentially giving the ball up and not getting any points. So on 3rd down, we try to go to Thomas Jones again, who gets absolutely stuffed at the marker, man. He was right there, but we don't get the animation we want. So I'm feeling gutsy. I'm keeping the offense out. We're giving it to McAvick on 4th and inches, and he picks it up for us. So now we are in excellent shape here to potentially win this game, and that's what I'm going to try and do with Gramont, sneaking in past the line of scrimmage and giving us a go-ahead touchdown here with just 12 seconds left to go in the game. So maybe some gutsy calls that you guys are going to question here, and I can't blame you because It definitely was a gutsy call to keep the offense out there on fourth down and then try and run another play instead of just taking the 3 points. But I knew we could win this game if I just did a couple QB sneaks or fullback dives, and that's exactly what happened now as Trent Dilfer tries to go for another last gasp here. Sends that one deep, but Kwame Lassiter is all over it. 3 seconds left now. What can Seattle do here to try and win this game? They got one more shot here at the end zone. What is Trent Dilfer going to do? He's going to drop back. He's going to look. He's going to pump fake on the run and send this one deep, and that one sails right into the grass. As Dilfer, another inaccurate throw just to cap off a pretty rough day for him. And we're going to walk away with our second straight win here. It's another close one over the Seattle Seahawks. Pretty sure the last time we played them, it was a score similar to that, I think. Close to a 21-17 type of victory. So, but we do get a pretty big and important win here as we look to hopefully punch a ticket to the postseason. It's very far ahead, though, but Herman Graham, our rookie quarterback, gets Player of the Game honors. I think it's well-deserved. So he had a very nice game here. I think he's finally settling into his own. He's not a very high overall, so any kind of good performances we can get, some stat padding we can get with him early on in the season before Plummer returns, would be great for us because he's going to develop a little bit. Looking over the stats here, we were terrible on third down. That's always a stat I want to focus on, and we never do good with it. So as long as we're finding ways to win, I guess it doesn't matter too much. But still, it's something you'd like to get a little bit better at over time, right? You don't want to always be terrible on third down, right? Looking over Herman Graham on stats here, 187 yards here only. Not a whole, productive day, but he was efficient. So I guess you can't be too mad here. Limited the interceptions, of course. You love to see it. Thomas Jones put 93 yards on the ground, but Makovic has the one rushing touchdown. Or actually, Makovic and Graham might have the rushing touchdowns from our run game here, but Thomas Jones gets a bulk of the yards. Not a whole lot to look over here in the receiving side of things. There's not many yards were had through the air, but diversified it up between about 4 people here as we look over the tackles here. Kwame Lassiter picks up another interception. He's been great with that all season long. Last year was really Dwayne Starks in the first half of the year, if you remember, but this year it looks like Kwame Lassiter is trying to maybe earn himself a check. I don't know. Something, man. He's hungry out there for picks, so you love to see that. But looking ahead now, this should be the return of Jake Plummer, I hope. He was only supposed to be injured for a week. I think he was maybe probable for this start against the Seahawks, but it's good to rest him up. We're paying him a good bit of money to be our quarterback, so he needs to be healthy. I don't want to risk a long-term injury with him. Rest in peace, Joey Harrington. But we're looking ahead now to San Diego, and we're going to take on the Chargers, and I hope to see you guys there as we try to continue our win streak against a fellow West Division opponent.